Amud Dalet Amud Beis, 8 lines from the top to 2 dots. Ton Rabbanan, Akida Alapayim. There are various forms of bowing down before Hashem. Kida means on one's face. Shenema Batikot Basheva Apayim Aretz. Kriya, when it says Kriya al Birkaim, that's on the knees. Shenema Mechroy al Birkot. Ishtachava, when it says Ishtachava, that form of bowing, Zupisha Yadayim Rekline. That's prostrating oneself completely flat on the ground. So that's to be bowed down, Lishtachas Artha on the ground. He saw that they were leaning, they were on the side. They were not flat on their face, but they were leaning towards it on their sides. Now here, as the Meforshim speak out, we're talking over here as in the Tachna, the way they were bowing down in Tachna. So they didn't do it on their face, flat on their face. They did it to the side. As Taisus Megillah speaks out, the issue over here is that a Adam Chashuv, the Gemara says, should not be bowed down, should not be mishtachva, unless he's guaranteed that his tefillah will be answered. So we're not guaranteed that our tefillah will be answered. So they didn't do a complete hishtachava. Now we, Lamaisa, we don't even do that. We do much less. We just rest our head on the table. We just put our heads down. We don't even do this degree of it. But the aside of the davar is that hishtachava, if a chashuv person, his tefillah is not answered, it's a bizoyan. So we don't do a full hishtachava. One Tana learned how when he bows down and Haidah Meshubah is praiseworthy. That it's not. That it's just the opposite. It makes a difference. It's a difference if it's at the beginning or at the end. When you bow down in B'tchila, you bow down, but not at the end, which is not like the brisa that we learned on Amud Aleph, that it is B'tchila ubasayf. Rava Karab Haidah Tchila v'sayf. He did it Tchila v'asayf. Amalei Rabbanan b'Maikol v'Marhachi. Why did you do that Tchila and Sayf? Bothered. Well, we have the brisa on Amud Aleph. We have the brisa that you're supposed to do Tchila v'sayf. For that reason, the Ravid learnings that we're discussing over here is not the Haidah of the Shlosh Shemana Esrei, it is Moedim de Rabbanan. And based on that, there is what is Nog, it's brought down in Halacha, the different Menhagim, Shibur brings it down, but that is the basis of that minhag that in Moedim de Rabbanan, you bow down at the beginning, and then again at the end. So according to the Ravid, that's what we're referring to over here. So they asked him, why did you do this? I saw that that's how they did it. We learned in the brisa that Hakareya B'Haidah is Mekuna. Or answer is Hod B'Haidah Sheb'Hala. That's talking with Haidah in Hala, but not in the Moedim. So therefore it's clear that Haidah is not referring to Hala. Some say that the Haidah and Hala that we're referring to is Haidah L'Shem Kitov Kilam Chazai. So clearly that we're talking about Haidah is something other than Haidah Shebahala. Or answer Kitanya Hi B'Haidah Deber Chazam. By Noidel. So by Noidel you don't bow down. By Halal, Haidah L'Shem, Kitzai, Kilam Chaz, you don't bow down. But in Shemana Esrei, you bow down. In Moedim de Rabbanan, you bow down. See the Mishnah, if a person is davening and he makes a mistake, siman rava. It's a bad siman. It's a bad siman. It shows that his tefillah is not accepted. Ve'im shliach tzibur hu, if he is a shliach tzibur, siman rava, it's a bad siman for the tzibur, the one who sent him. A person's messenger is as if he himself did it. If it's a bad siman for the messenger, it's a bad siman for those who sent him. They said when he used to down for a chayla, he was able to tell from his tefillah which one would live and which wouldn't. How do you know that? They asked him. He said, he answered him, if my tefillah flows, I don't make a mistake, I don't stumble, then I know it's accepted. But if not, then I know that it's been rejected. And based on the chayla that he davened for, if his tefillah was shkur b'fiv, he knew it was accepted, and if not, chas v'shalom, he knew the opposite. What is it referring to? Zak the Gemara. It says if a person's spell v'ton, he made a mistake. It's mineral. Which brach is it referring to? It's referring specifically to the bracha of avos. If the mistake is in the tefillah of avos, then that's the primary tefillah, the bracha. Then he knows it's a seminara. Ikadamasla brayso. Some say it's going to the brayso. When we say avos, it's a different context. It's referring to the brayso, which discusses the following: person is davening Shemona Esrei, you should have kavanah in all the brachos. In all the brachos, you should have kavanah. Who he's standing in front of, what the words mean. But if you can't in all of them, at least he should at least have kavanah in one. Which is the one that we're referring to? The avos, the chad, that the one that we're referring to is avos. So some say that the avos that is identified as avos is in this context, not in the context of our mission. They said Rabbi Chanina that he knew which one he was davening for, if the person would live or not. Where do we see that based on his tefillah he can determine if the person would live? If his Rashi says when the svasaim, the utterance of his lips are bori, or they're healthy, they're strong, then it's shalom the roch of the Torah. Amar Hashem urafa'asi, and I will give him a refuah. Amar Chibarav, Amar Yechanan. Rabbi Yahweh said, in the name of Rabbi Yechon, all of the brachas and the great hashbahs, the blessings that the Nevi'im were in the Snave for the people, for tzaddikim, those were tzaddikim who were, for instance, they married off their daughters to a Talmud Chacham. They provide sustenance and business for a Talmud Chacham. They give of their own to the Talmud Chacham. But the Talmid Chacham themselves, nobody knows the greatness of can fathom the blessings that are awaiting the Talmid Chacham themselves. The great nevuas and the prophecies and the blessings were from Yomi Masechet. It's beyond our comprehension. That's beyond our comprehension. But this argues on Shmuel, because the Shmuel says, the previous member of Yechon is that in Yomi Masechet, those blessings, those great blessings that were mentioned, that was for Yomi Masechet, which implies that Yomi Masechet will be a conduct, an anhaga that is not like Olam Hazeh. That be an anhaga that is different, and l'mayla mederech hateva, l'mayla mederech hateva v'olam hazeh. But Shmuel said that Yomi Masechet will still follow the guidelines of teva, will not be l'mayla mederech hateva. The difference between a Yomi Masechet and Olam Hazeh, according to Shmuel, is Shibud Malchus. We won't be subjugated to the nations. We will have Klal Yisrael will be independent of the nations, of the Shibud of the nations, of the hashpah of the nations, but Olam Hazeh will be conducted with the same laws of nature. So that argues on the memra of Rav Yechon. How does where does Shmuel see that? Because there will still be poor people, meaning even in Moshe Mashiach, there will still be poor people. The great was the prophecies and the prophets, etc., that the Nevi'im prophesied for Bali Tshuva, about Tzadikim Gemurim, but Tzadikim Gemurim, Ein Lo Yros Elikim Zulasecha. It's beyond our comprehension. Upliga the Rabavo argues on that. He holds that Bali Tshuva are greater than Tzadikim Gemurim. Shenemar Shalom Shalom. The pasuk we had before Shalom Shalom L'Rochak U'L'Karab, for those who are far and those who are close. L'Rochak Bereisha, priority is given L'Rochak for those who were far. Bali Tshuva, they were far from the Torah, they came close. V'Hadar L'Karab, and only them L'Karab. Rabbi Yochanan argues, he says the opposite. My rochak, shaya rochak, midvar aver mikar. He learns it's just the opposite. Rochak means that not far from the Torah. Rochak means he was far from an aver. Means that tzaddik gomer. Umay kor shaya kor l'dvar aver nisrachim mimena. And he was kor l'dvar aver v'nisrachim mimena hashta. And now he became a now he distanced himself from the Avera. So he learns it just the opposite. The Shalom Shalom L'Rochak doesn't mean those who are far from the Torah. It means those who are far from the Avera. And Kara means they were close to the Avera and they distanced themselves. So he learns just the opposite, that the Tzaddik Gomer is on the greater level. My eye also, what is the eye has never seen, has never witnessed his greatness. Amar Yeshua ben Levi Zayin Mishumer Barnava Misheshes Yemei Gracious. That the wine that was guarded and protected within the grapes from Sheshes Yemei Gracious. Meaning the secrets, the yayin is a source of simcha. And the simcha, that the ultimate simcha, which no one is beyond our comprehension, that is Ein Lo Rasa. There is a source of simcha, or according to some portion, there's a source of the secrets of the Torah that were never exposed, that we have no comprehension of. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar Eden. It's referring to Eden. Shaloi Shalta Bo'ayin. Shaloi Shalta Bo'ayin called Birya. That no one has ever seen Eden. It is something that is so wondrous and something that no one has witnessed and beyond our comprehension. What about Amar Rishon? Wasn't he in Eden? No. He was began. He was in the Gan. He was in Gan Eden. He was in the garden, but not in Eden itself. Shema Timer who Gan, who Eden. That is telling it's the same thing. Talmud Loimar, Venor, Yotzim, Eden, Lahashka says a Gan. The river went from Eden to irrigate the Gan. It shows you the Gan Lachud, the Eden Lachud. They're two separate things. No one has ever witnessed the Eden. The Gan, Adam Rishon was there, but not Eden. Son Rabban Masechet Shechol ben Noishel Rabban Gamliel. There was a Maisa when the son of Rabban Gamliel took ill. Shagar Shnei Talmid Chacham Yitzhak Rabban ben Deisa Lavakish Racham. He sent two messengers Talmid Chacham to request from Rabban ben Deisa to be Mavakish Racham, to daven for them. When he saw them approaching, he went up to the attic, and he davened for Rabbi El's son. It was Makish Rachman. Also, he came down. He said, "You can go, return." His fever has broken, and his sickness has departed, and he's healthy. How do you know that? Are you a Navi? Amar lahem, loy novi anoichem, not a novi, loy ben novi, not a novi, not a son of a novi. Ela kach mekublani. This is, I have this Kabbalah. Im shkurat vilas befi. If my tefillah flows and I don't stumble my tefillah, yodein ishum mekubal. Then I know that it's accepted. V'im lav yodein ishuhu metura. And if not, then I know that it's rejected. Yashiva also keep noise short. So they wrote down exactly when this took place, the time that it took place. When they returned to Kamal, Rabbi Gamliel Amar Lehem Ha'avayde, he made a shvut Ha'avayde lechasatem v'leisatem, nothing more, nothing less. Alakach Haya Ma'isa. This is exactly what happened. At that precise moment, the fever broke. And he asked for water to drink. Vishuv Ma'ase Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa Shalach Lameteitz Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. There was another Ma'ase he wanted to learn by Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. V'chol v'noishel Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, and the son of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai took Yel. Amar Rabbi Chanina b'ni Bakesh Alav Rachmi. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai asked, he requested from Chanina ben Doisa to daven for his son V'yich so that he lived. In the Yecharesh ben Birkav, so Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa put his head between his knees. U'bikesh Alav Rachmi. And he was Mavakish, he poured out his heart to the Goyish and Mavakish Racham V'chai, and the son lived. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai ilmolei etich ben Zakkai asked Rosh ben Birkav kol hayom kuloi. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said about himself, if he said, if I had done this the whole day, lo hayom mashkicham lo, in Shemaim they would not have paid attention. Amar lo yishte, his wife said to him, Chanina golden fudge, Chanina bigger than greater than you. Amar lo, no, he said no, it's not greater than me. He is like a servant for the king, and I'm like a prince. So as the Meforshim explain, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was the Nasi, he was Marbitz Torah, and his tafkid was on the higher echelons of the needs of the Klal. The Marbitz Torah, he was the Nasi. Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa was Isaac in the Tzarchei Yochid. The tefillah, the one that is accustomed to be mispalal for the yechidim, is the one that's Isaac with the tzarchei yechidim, and his tefillahs are answered more readily. The one that doig for the individuals, who works with the individuals, mispalal for the individual, his tefillahs are more readily answered. It's not a reflection on the greatness of the person. It's a reflection on the type of avoida that this person does. If he's oided, his avoida is for the tzarchei yachid, his tefillahs are more readily answered for the yachid. Someone who might be a greater person, a greater Talmud Chacham, as we see from this Ma'aseh, that Rav Chanina ben Doisa went to learn by Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai was the greater Talmud Chacham, but it's a different tafkid, and the tefillahs are not necessarily answered more readily by the greater, the Talmud Chacham. Sometimes they're answered more by the people who is a greater servant, Eved, for the tzibur. Davening should be in a room which has windows. He davened, when he davened, Daniel, the windows were facing Neged Yerushalayim, so you see their windows. It says someone who davens in an open area, not in a room, like in an open area in a field, that's considered a chutzpah. So Rashi says because he's not in a person, if he's in an open area, he has more of our chavas hadas. He doesn't have the tznias and the hachnoah that's required for davening. According to Taisus, is because in an open area people come and go and they interrupt him, so he's davening in a place where he's going to get interrupted. Someone who davens and he says and he speaks out and he enunciates his sins, his chatoim, that's also considered a davar that's not sneeze. You try to conceal, you're embarrassed by the chatoim, you don't reveal your chatoim. It's something that's embarrassed and you don't speak it out publicly. Next part, Parak deals with the brachas, the various brachas that we make on things that we eat.